Hello and welcome. Volume 9, Chapter 2 is upon us, and so is my reaction to it. It has not felt like a week since Chapter 1. It's felt more like 3 days. So I woke up this morning and was like, oh, shit, that's right. RWBY Day. So yeah, Chapter 2. I got no idea what's going to happen. I honestly don't have many expectations as to what will happen. I'm hopeful that we'll at least get a glimpse at Jean and or Neo this episode, or Alyx. Start delving into what's up with any of them. But yeah, beyond that, I don't really have anything in the way of expectations. So I say we just get right into it. Okay, here we go. Launch with a title this time, Altercation at the Auspicious Auction, which is a mouthful, and is more alliteration. So, that's exciting. Alright. Let's do this.
Of nowhere I am undone, clasping tight onto memories I know they'll be overrun. We must live with balance, but balance is blind. Vengeance is
One of the things that I forgot to mention in the last reaction is the focus on the leaves in the intro. Those leaves right there. I don't know what it means, but they show up a bunch in the intro, so I assume there's some degree of importance with them. Absolute banger. I hear the bird.
So are we just gonna stand around thinking about this in silence?
Blake and Weiss have smiling.
This place is weird, but a fairy tale? I mean, that's impossible. What we've seen is improbable, but that doesn't mean we're in an actual fairy tale. Are we seriously entertaining this?
Do you have a better explanation for what's going on?
Well, let's try to be more logical, shall we? We fell from the sky. RWBY made friends with a tiny mouse. Friends! Blake and I got caught by killer vines. And, you got your arm stolen by a... What was it that you said?
A talking raccoon riding on a purple wagon filled with trash.
Yes, that. Okay, I see your point of view. I am going to go over here now. Of course it's driving. Why not? Probably has little driving wheels too. As crazy as it sounds,
That is going to be a meme.
this is familiar.
The girl who fell through the world.
Mm-hmm. Go, Blake. Blake knows. Yo.
I think we're in the ever after.
Blake, that world is make-believe. It was just part of a story we all read as kids.
It's not make-believe. It's where I live.
Can you tell us more about it? Have you ever heard the name Alyx?
And
There it is.
Alyx. that a purpose?
In the story, Alyx fell from the sky and met with the hunter mice. Got trapped in vines, fought a Jabberwocker, and got her knife stolen by a talking raccoon.
Yeah, and then she beat the
Cool.
Red King at a board game, met the curious cat, the rusted knight, and finally got out through...
The tree.
Ah.
So what now? Do we go to the tree, look for Alyx?
No. Follow the story.
Ruby, you're still missing Crescent Rose.
I'll bet the Jinxy peddler has it.
Who?
The Jinxy peddler? That's the only talking raccoon I know.
Do you know where he might be?
Of course. I'll lead the way. Right to...
Yep.
So the town is just ahead, right?
Oh, Ruby. Wake up!
I've been thinking, if we're going to go to this town, we need to be careful. Alyx didn't know their customs and ended up starting a war among the townsfolk. Trouble followed
Sounds
her
bad.
everywhere she went.
Well, yeah, but she was kind of a mean person, right? She lied and cheated her way through most of the book.
She was trying to survive. The morals of those old stories are so simplistic.
Either way, we need to tread lightly.
The town's just up ahead. The Jinxy peddler always stops by our village before he goes to town.
Do they steal stuff from you guys too?
Steal? Never. They just take the things we're not looking at. Fair's fair.
Sounds like a legitimate business person. How did they manage to steal your arm anyway?
That's
was
what I want to
knocked out
know.
from the
Hey, look at this.
When I came to, that sneaky raccoon had already grabbed my arm and ran off before I could stop him.
So would you say he caught you unarmed?
Ha!
Charming. I guess we'll have to catch this.
About time.
Ha.
Or what?
Yeah, Ruby's not paying
Nothing.
attention. Oh
Don't worry.
man.
We'll find a way out of here, and then we'll go back home. Weiss?
It's all gone. There's nothing left for me to go back to. Just like Beacon.
Yeah.
You did the best you could for Atlas, Weiss.
I hadn't
But
thought
it
about
wasn't
that.
enough. We hatched a crazy plan that put a whole kingdom at risk, and we don't even know if we saved the relics from... Maybe John and Winter were able to get them out. Despite everything. Despite us. I know that Penny... I know that was a lot to hear.
A bridge.
So this is the entrance to the other acre, you called it?
Echo.
Yep. All we do is cross the bridge and we'll be, well, wherever over there is.
You don't know?
Nope. Never been this far from home.
Oh, maybe you should go back?
I wouldn't have any idea how to go back. Maybe I'll live by this bridge.
I'll handle this.
Building a house, my favorite. Gonna find my purpose in my best house.
Would you like to come with us?
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Look how pretty that is, man. Ooh. Whoa.
Just act like you belong, everybody.
I've always wanted to be long, but I'm still small.
There it is. So what's the strategy? Just start roughing them up or what?
In the book, Alyx had to barter with Jinxy for her dagger.
Yeah, I think I'd rather hit him.
Whoa, pretty.
Welcome, one and all!
He's adorable.
And a lot older than I remember from the book.
I am Jinxy, and these are the finest treasures of
Does
the
that imply that time has passed?
I don't see my arm.
All of Jinxie's treasures are just other items in disguise, so that people think they're buying something extremely valuable.
Okay. So, which one is Yang's arm?
What does your heart tell you?
Oops.
That's how Alyx knew.
I mean, that one looks roughly arm-sized-ish.
And it has the same sort of shapes
Really?
on it.
There's something about that one.
First item. The diamond-studded rabbit. You! Jinxies.
How are we going to bid without any money?
I don't think there's any money in the ever after. Jinxie just names whatever price he wants.
What did Jinxie want from Alyx?
Her saddest memory. And her happiest.
Sold for a hug.
Hugs are very valuable.
Maybe this won't be so bad after all.
Second item, a golden scepter. You!
Huh?
The bidding starts at
No, I was the first one to...
knowing what it is to feel loved. A fair price for some, I'd say.
Oh, there's
Doing what it's
those.
like to feel loved by royal decree.
Sold!
Wait, that's my arm!
Whatever it is, it's royal property now. No price is too high for His Majesty's birthday.
First item, the Jade marionette.
We tried it your way, Blake.
You!
Ruby, what are you doing?
Bidding starts at enough
What
hope
is that?
to fill this jar.
Yeah, Ruby's a bit low on that.
You don't have enough, do you?
Thief!
Why, you little... Leave that alone! You can't touch it until the deal is done!
Ah.
It's a fake!
Yeah, because it would have fallen.
I'm going for it!
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Fair's fair.
I got it!
Run!
Come on!
Weiss is not running.
Those people take auctions very seriously. High five? High five?
We're doing the same thing Alyx did. We're ruining everything.
That's your biggest concern right now?
I've read so many stories. I never thought I'd be the moral of one.
Ruby?
There's Penny.
I couldn't explain why, but I was drawn to it.
Great. Now it's raining on just us. That's it. We're getting out of this nightmare. Alyx went to the tree, right? Let's go.
I don't think it's gonna work.
Not
like
gonna
that.
work that way, no.
In the book, we are not in a book. And even if we were, we know how it ends. Right over there.
Weiss is angry.
Stupid tree! Yeah, already tried that earlier. You can't get any closer to the tree that way.
Well, then what do we do now? We've got my arm, but we still don't have Crescent Rose or the slightest idea how to get out.
This way! Somebody's sad! I'd be sad too, if I ruined the royal birthday.
These guys again.
Blake, what did Alyx do next?
She went to the Crimson Castle and beat the Red King at his own game.
Heads up! Treasonous birthday ruiners!
Okay.
We want to go to the birthday party. We want to go to the birthday party.
Well, too bad, because we're going to... Oh, yes. That's where we're taking you, as prisoners, for stealing royal property.
What if I offered you something better? The weapon of a powerful warrior.
Ooh, go on.
Not just a powerful warrior. The most powerful to ever live. She was touched by magic. And she gave her life for thousands. She took a message of hope to the stars. And she saw the world through better eyes. Take us to the royal birthday and allow us to present this most precious gift.
That is the appropriate reaction.
By royal decree. Come on, men. You heard her. We've got a birthday to celebrate.
On you go.
Ruby, are you sure about this?
Look, we may not know exactly what's going on, but for whatever reason, this place is putting us on a similar path as a book we all read as kids. I say we follow it. And stop pretending we know what we're doing.
Yo. Oh, man. Hey. Feels like there's a little bit of penny in that. I have to listen to it again. Ah. Okay, that was fun. That was a real fun episode. I'm bad. I'm real bad at trying to think of everything that we saw and trying to go over it. Oh man, there's so much. There is going to be so many memes made out of Weiss this episode. Oh my god. Glad that Blake is the one sort of leading, because she's the one obviously who's most familiar with the story, because of course she is. So I like that a lot. Ah, and then this whole thing with Weiss. Oh man. Yeah, I didn't really, haven't really thought about that. Yeah, Weiss has completely lost everything. Not everyone, thank God, but her entire home is gone, dude. And dude, that sucks. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun thinking about that. Then we get into the town, all the little people. The people. I love them. Yeah, so why was... So Penny's sword was disguised as like a doll. I wonder, trying to think of why that would be. Why the doll? I feel like it's an obvious answer. I mean, a doll like... maybe it's not a doll. Maybe it's a puppet, which I suppose would make sense because Pinocchio. So I guess that could be all it is. So like, yeah. I want to just quickly listen to that one bit, just to confirm that it was actually Penny. I mean, it definitely sounded like it was. So we'll just find wherever that was.
I've read so many stories. I never thought I'd be the moral of one.
Ruby?
Yeah, it is.
I couldn't explain why, but
Yeah. That is 115.7% Penny's motif. So, that's our first one for Volume 9. It's a good one, too. It's a pretty one. And then I suspected that this whole bit here... Oh, man, that was beautiful, dude. But I suspected that also may have been some Penny stuff, but we hear that in the credits, so I'll just go to that. More absolutely gorgeous concept art. Look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. 2 rubes, because it's the concept art. You gotta have Ruby for reference everywhere. Alright, so... Pay it, listen, and I'll see if I can hear it. I don't know. Nothing jumps out as to like, there it is, but maybe. I mean, for the scene that it is, it makes sense for it to be there, but I don't know. Okay, so that was a really fun episode. That was great. Oh man, I'm gonna have so much fun watching that again and again and again and again. So I will see you all in the discussion part of the episode, which I'll probably do that maybe not tomorrow, but the day after, so Monday. God, that was so much fun, dude. I love that. All right, see you then. Bye-bye. And I'm back. I know I said that I would be doing this on Monday. It is currently Thursday. So, yeah. I was going to do it on Monday, but the Destiny 2 Lightfall soundtrack came out on Monday. So, all my plans for that day got ruined. Then on Tuesday, I was at uni. And then yesterday, Wednesday, Lightfall came out. So... spent all day playing that. But anyway, let's just jump right into this. First and foremost, just to get it out of the way, Weiss. Just MVP of the episode, by far. So many memeable moments. It feels like Weiss had more funny moments in this episode than she has had in the entire show, which probably isn't true, but it feels like it is. From her whole thing at the beginning of the episode all the way until hitting herself with the rock. Oh my god. Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about music now. We had quite a bit more music compared to the first episode, which is fun. For most of the episode, there's not a lot for me to say beyond I like it, and it sounds nice. I really enjoyed the music, and I really enjoyed the shot towards the beginning, that grand, like, sweeping shot of the Ever After, and it's one of those moments that sort of just sticks in the mind. But by far, the highlight of the music this episode was at the end. The music in the final scene comes in two distinct parts. The first part is primarily on piano, I think. Is that right? I think it is. And it's where we get our first definitive leitmotif appearance in Volume 9, which is Penny. It's probably the most recognizable / iconic part of Penny's theme, because it's the one that ends up in Friend. And hearing it here hurts real bad. But wait, it gets worse. Because in the second part of the scene, with Ruby's speech about Penny, we get a beautiful piece of music. Now, as you saw during the initial part of the reaction, I was not sure if that included any of Penny's theme, but having listened to it a bunch, I'm pretty confident that it is actually there. Just sort of hidden and subtle, but I'm pretty sure it is there. And it is so gorgeous and beautiful and sad, and the rest of that scene too is wonderful. Ruby's speech is, man, makes me feel stuff, dude. And I love the references that it makes, like, to Pinocchio, and, you know, of course, by extension, Penny and Friend. You know, especially the took a message of hope to the stars, which is very, you know what that's referencing. And the saw the world through better eyes bit. Oh man, that gets me. That part gets me. Because it's absolutely true. You know, Penny's the sweetest and most honest soul ever. So having that line of dialogue is just... And I love it even more because it's not just about, like, how Penny was. You know, that whole speech is, to me anyway, at least the way that I see it, it's how Ruby saw Penny. It's what Penny was to Ruby. And, you know, this, you know, the most powerful warrior to ever live. And God, I love that so much. Jumping all the way back to the beginning of the episode now, we learn more about Alyx and the story of the girl who fell through the world. And it's here, and throughout the rest of the episode, of course, that we learn / realize that we, Team RWBY, are following the story and following in Alyx's footsteps, which sort of provides more context to the intro, to that one part of the intro where, you know, we have Team RWBY following the silhouette of Alyx. So that makes a lot more sense now. We get a brief summary of the story, which is nice. The parts that we've already experienced are the fell from the sky and met with the hunter mice, trapped in vines, fought a Jabberwocker, and the knife stolen by a talking raccoon. The knife, of course, in this case being Yang's arm. Then we learn other parts of the story that we haven't seen yet, which are beating the Red King at a board game, which is then later stated again as going to the Crimson Castle and beating the Red King at his own game. Then there's meeting the Curious Cat, meeting the Rusted Knight, and then escaping through the tree. Now, obviously, the most interesting, well, the one that jumps out to me the most there is meeting the Rusted Knight, because one would assume that is the knight from the intro, who we all sort of assume is our favorite little noodle boy. So putting a name on that is fun and interesting. I assume that next chapter will be everything involving the Red King, and I assume chapter 3 will be where we meet the Curious Cat, because the concept art for the Curious Cat labels it as an asset from episode 3, I think. Let me double check that. Yes, the concept art labels it as appearing in episode 3. So yeah, I assume we will be meeting the cat next episode as well. One thing mentioned about Alyx that was interesting is Yang saying that she was, a kind of a mean person because she lied and cheated her way throughout the events of the book. So I'm wondering if that does actually mean that she's not actually a nice person or something. I don't know if that has any significance or not, but Next up, a brief little mention on the bees. As Weiss rightfully puts it, it's about time. I would be very, very surprised if we don't end this volume with Blake and Yang becoming, official. It's been a very, very long time coming. It's kind of surreal as well. I'll probably talk about it a bit more if and when things happen, but it's kind of surreal to have witnessed the journey of that relationship building over the years, and to know that we're sort of on the cusp of it actually happening is it's kind of crazy to think about. Something a little less happy, but Weiss's whole scene about her loss, the loss that she's experienced, it's something that I hadn't thought about, actually, which surprised me, because it's a very, to me anyway, it's a very obvious thing to think about. I mean, Atlas is all gone. Her home, the place she grew up, it's all gone. While that whole place probably didn't hold the best memories for her, it's still a sad thing. And I love the comparison that she makes to Beacon. She left Atlas to get away from her father and all that baggage, made a new family, and then she lost that home, and for a while at least lost the family that she made there, and then eventually she ends up back in her original home with her new family, and then she loses that home too. I don't have anything particularly deep to say about it, but it's just such a sad thing that I just had not considered or thought about at all. And I'm glad that it was brung up. I'm really glad it was brung up. And of course, the other part to that scene and the whole thing here is the guilt that Weiss feels. Because, I guess she's partly responsible for what happened to Atlas. Obviously, it's not really her fault, or anyone's fault, really. But it's very easy to understand why she would feel the way she feels. And yeah, I really love that moment, and I'm hoping, silently hoping, that we get a little more of that throughout this volume with Weiss, because I don't know, I just really like that. Next up, Blake. I love the role that Blake is taking in this episode, and then presumably throughout the rest of the volume too. As I talked about during the episode 1 reaction, things do seem to line up with her taking on a more leadership role, but I love that it's her leading the others through the events of the book. She's been the bookworm since volume 1, but that sort of little aspect of her character hasn't really played much of a role. So to see that just sort of come front and center with her is so nice, and so it makes me happy to see that, and seeing her sort of struggle with. I love that line of her, reading. She's read so many stories, but she never thought she would be the moral of one. Like, it kind of sounds a bit dramatic, but I really love it a lot, and I really cannot wait to see more of Blake this volume. Really, it's so exciting. So, reaching the auction scene, a couple things to talk about. Firstly, Blake mentions that Jinxy is, or seems, older than she remembers from the book. It's an interesting line, because I'm curious if that implies that sort of time has passed within the Ever After. Because, like, we are assuming that Alyx has already been here. That whole thing has happened, and now things are happening again. Yet no one in the Ever After seems to be familiar with Alyx or aware of the fact that, these sequence of events seem to be happening again. So I'm wondering if that does actually mean that time has actually passed within the Ever After. So, for the auction itself, small thing, but Penny's sword, being the Jade marionette, is, that part seems obvious. Jade, green, marionette, puppet, green, puppet. That's Penny's green. She's based on Pinocchio. That makes sense. What I am curious about, though, is RWBY's connection to it. She mentions later on that, she doesn't know why she was drawn to it. That's a question that I hope gets answered. So, yeah, wait and see. But then the bartering for Yang's arm and then the Penny sword. The barter for Penny sword seems pretty obvious. I mean, enough hope to fill this jar. RWBY just doesn't have it. That part seems pretty obvious to me, and I love the not so subtle imagery of Jinxy holding the jar and the framing of the shot, making it look like that the puppet is inside the jar, implying that Penny was sort of RWBY's hope, and with Penny gone, RWBY has lost that, and then she can't, and then she doesn't have enough hope left to obtain this part of Penny. It's sad. But Yang's barter is interesting, knowing what it is to feel loved. Now, it's probably easy, and I probably thought this too, to think that, like, her reaction to that is that she doesn't know what it's like to feel loved. But, sit and think about it for a little bit. Jinxy is asking for that feeling. He's asking Yang to give that feeling up. And, her reaction seems to be she can't do that. She cannot give up that feeling. And this is a view that's backed up by the animators themselves. So I'll put that up on here So, take that how you will. And speaking of the animators, the final thing that I want to mention is the sheer amount of subtle and cute little animation details that have gone in, not just in this episode, but the previous episode too, and presumably the rest of the volume too. It's so nice to sort of just rewatch the episode and only focus on one character, or rewatch scenes and focus on different parts of the screen, and you pick up on so many tiny little details that, you know, most people probably won't notice, but it's just so nice to see tiny little movements and emotions and expressions that just bring extra life and meaning to all these characters and all these moments and all these scenes. It's wonderful. And I love all the animators and all the other crew responsible for bringing those moments and, of course, the rest of the show to life. So, big love and big praise to them. And I think that's all I want to talk about. Absolutely loved this episode. It was so much fun. Probably one of the most fun first-time watches of a RWBY episode. So, yeah. Episode 3 is just around the corner, and I'm really, really excited. So I will see you for episode 3 this weekend. Although you won't see it until when episode 4 is airing, so see you then. Okay, bye-bye.